So what's going on, everybody? JA here. Salute to you for tuning in. Now, it's the Monday show, so we're going to be diving into all of this week's best sneaker releases. And as far as this week's drops, let's just say that we got a busy week ahead of ourselves. So to begin, I actually want to start by recapping this past weekend's biggest drops, which from Jordan Brand, we saw them hit us with the Jordan 14 Black Toe, the return of a classic OG, a sneaker which originally made its debut all the way back in '98. So as far as this drop, we saw these hit Nike as well as select retailers. And according to Eldon Monitors, for the big sneakers app drop, we had roughly 35,000 pairs loaded up to the app, which it looks like all across the board, these joints have completely sold out. So does that mean the Jordan retro hype is back? Well, I would say it probably never really left. It's just customers have been a little burnt out. I would say they have a little fatigue with just so many different retro releases. But when it comes to the Jordan 14, I think this is a model that Jordan Brand does right. They usually don't overdo it too much. We usually just see like a few different releases per year. And it seems like the public has responded very well to these. So when it comes to Nike and Jordan Brand referencing, preserving the legacy of some of their classic models, I think the Jordan 14 is a perfect example. And I think it's an effective strategy as we see Nike start to scale back, on some of these releases. Now, switching over to Action Bronson and New Balance, they just dropped two new collaborations over the weekend, one in the Minimus Trail as well as the Rebel V4, two performance models from New Balance's vast catalog. Now, as far as Action Bronson and New Balance collabs, anything that they drop is pretty much an instant sellout. So what I would like to know from you guys is, as far as these two models, which one are y'all feeling a little bit more? For me personally, I would have to go with the Minimus Trail. I'm a fan actually of the silhouette. I think they actually look really cool. And as far as this colorway, I think they executed these flawlessly. So two big sellouts, two new models under Action Bronson's belt, which we know he's gonna have a lot of big releases for New Balance come 2025. So as far as these pairs, it will be interesting to see if we get an official New Balance drop, as these did drop via Action Bronson's website. Not saying that we're actually gonna be able to cop them or anything, but just kind of curious to know if we will actually get an official drop. And then next up, we have Adidas, which hit us with the Adi Zero Adios Pro Evo 1, a collaboration with Pharrell, which we did see actually drop specifically in store in New York City on November 2nd, just the day before the big New York City Marathon. So it feels like the timing of this release was perfect, as we did see these sell out even at the $500 retail price tag. So it does kind of prove here that there is some type of market for these like advanced tech runners, as these did sell out. And as far as resale prices, it's even crazy to see that people are paying $1,000+ for these. I'm not saying these are moving in like huge units or anything like that, but just as far as StockX alone, we already see a few pairs sold at that $1,000 price since these officially dropped. So let me know if you guys grabbed anything over the weekend. Of course, it's just all the hype stuff. So be very curious to know if you guys grabbed anything a little more low key or under the radar as well. Now, as far as this week's releases, to kick things off today, we saw Kith drop 3 new Madison Square Garden themed New Balance releases. So you had a pair of 991 V2s as well as 2 models of the New Balance 480, a classic 80s low top retro basketball model that New Balance has brought back with this new thicker skate-like sole. So as far as these pairs, they did retail at $120, and it looks like all of these have completely sold out. So this is part of Kith's Loyalty Monday program, which it looks like every Monday Kith actually drops these special collaborative releases, which I actually had no clue about, and I think is really cool. Now, coming up tomorrow, we have Adidas dropping the Simpson Rivalry Low, which, as far as this pair right here, these do feature this like thick furry detail on the upper right here, and apparently this sneaker is centered around some type of Simpson Halloween theme episode, which come in at $130. I would have to say though, Adidas definitely dropped the ball on these, not dropping these ahead of Halloween. So I don't know what they were thinking with that one. Now, also on the 5th, we have Nike hitting us with the Air Max 180 Black White. So you guys should all be familiar with this classic model. As far as with the green and purple color scheme, I'm already seeing people nicknaming these the Joker, or with Beetlejuice having a big popularity this year, I'm also seeing people calling these the Air Max 180 Beetlejuices. So we'll see these hitting the sneakers app retailing at $160. Now, also on the 5th, we have Nike hitting us with the Hot Step 2 Mint, which of course is a collaboration with Nocta and Drake. Now, as far as these Hot Step 2s, it seems like this was a very ambitious collaboration for Nike, as we've seen several different colorways of these surface. And in my opinion, I thought after the whole Drake Kendrick beef that nobody was really going to be checking for these Drake sneakers, but I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that via the secondary market, all of these pairs have actually held their value. So be on the lookout for these, as these will be dropping via Nocta. I'm not sure if they're going to be a Nocta exclusive, but stay tuned, as these will be dropping for $200. Now on the 6th, we have Adidas hitting us with the Jabbar High OG, which are going to be dropping in a low top version as well. And we're also going to see another color of the High, but in a revamped new retro inspired colorway. So 3 different pairs to choose from. Essentially what you have right here is Adidas retroing these old Kareem Abdul-Jabbar basketball sneakers from the 70s, and this will be the second official launch from that collection. So be on the lookout, as these will be retailing at $110 for the highs and then $100 for the lows. Now on the 7th, we have ASAP Rocky and Puma hitting us with new colorways of the Inhale, a retro Puma model, which we did see them drop, a couple different colorways, like I guess about a month ago. So I like what Puma's doing here. It seems like they're keeping the momentum rolling with new colorways of this model, and releasing alongside these, we're also going to see that 3D printed model as well. So these retail at $120, and I think the 3D printed sneaker retails at $200, and that's a sneaker that a lot of people seem to be saying a lot of positive things about. Now also on the 7th, we have Nike dropping the Air Max 1 OG 86 Power Wall. Now as far as this colorway, these did originally drop back in 2006, but what Nike's doing is bringing these back, of course, with the OG 86 with the big Air Max bubble. So these will be dropping via the sneakers app coming up on the 7th for $150. Now also on the 7th, we have some New Balance collaborations which are going to be dropping via their website. So first we have the Salehi Bembury 530s, which did already drop via BS Spun. So if you guys are looking to grab these via New Balance, they will be releasing on the 7th for $130. Also the same thing for these Amine 740s, did sell out upon the initial drop, and then now we have the official New Balance launch, which as far as this pair, these are retailing at $130 and will be dropping the following day on the 8th. So 2 big high profile collaborations from New Balance releasing on the 7th and the 8th. And then for the big release of the weekend, probably the most popular drop, well, most definitely the most popular drop, we have the Wu-Tang Dunks making a return. Now, of course, this is a release which I feel like sells itself. We see Nike has done a big campaign rollout, which it seems like they're putting a lot of marketing dollars behind this release, which I feel like is almost unnecessary, because we already know what these joints are all about. And you guys already know sneakerheads are gonna eat these up. But as far as the marketing, I guess it's a cool way to like let the new generation know how special and important these are. So we're gonna see these retailing for $150, and I'm just curious to know what stock numbers are gonna look like, because as you know, a lot of people are looking to get their hands on these, so it'll be interesting to see if Nike makes enough pairs to go around. Now also on the 9th, while everybody's checking for the Wu-Tang Dunks, let's not forget we have the Jordan 9 OG Olive making a return, which as far as this pair, the controversy surrounding this release would be the shade of olive. Some people are saying it's not the proper shade of green and looks more like a brown, which I'm gonna be real, I could honestly care less about the shade of olive right here. This is a release which I've already said on record that I am trying to get my hands on. Now what I'm contemplating about is paying the full retail $200, because as we saw, them 9 powder blues that dropped earlier this year were sitting, you were able to get those under retail and even on sale. So I'm thinking, will this go down the same way that release went? Am I actually going to be overpaying by paying full retail? I don't know if I should gamble and wait and hold out maybe to grab these on sale or for under retail. And then to finish off the week, we have Adidas dropping a trio of Infinity releases. So we got the Crazy Infinity dropping, we also have the Mad Infinity releasing, and then we also have the debut of the Nova Infinity, a budget-friendly basketball model retailing at $130. Now I would say, as far as a brand new silhouette, these joints aren't bad. It'll be interesting to see how the public responds to these. So comment down below. Let me know if you guys are feeling these or not. So let me know if you guys are checking for anything dropping this week. And as far as specific pairs, of course, we'll cover these in a little more details as specific release dates approach. Now, lastly, before we bounce, I did want to briefly touch on Adidas and Yeezy, because of course, recently we just got the big word that Adidas is still sitting on roughly around 50 million euros worth of pairs remaining, which roughly translates to around $56 million worth of pairs remaining, which I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't really sound like a lot, but I actually just realized that Adidas has a lot more Yeezys than I originally anticipated. So I'm gonna explain why. Now, this partnership ended in 2022. At the time, Adidas was still sitting on like around $1.3 billion worth of pairs, which they've been now selling off for the last 2 years or so, of which when Adidas first started resuming Yeezy sales, I would say people were like super hyped. They were very excited, to grab these pairs, as there was like this little hiatus where Adidas wasn't dropping any pairs from when the collaboration originally ended. So first drop, extremely hype. We then saw Adidas continue to drop more pairs, to which then we started to see certain colorways, some of the more popular models start to sit, to which then Adidas eventually started putting these Yeezys on sale. So for the very first time, we saw them sending Yeezys to the Adidas outlet, which at that time was absolutely mind-blowing, but now it's not really too crazy when we all put it into perspective. So people were feasting off those sales, and now here we are with just around $50 million worth of pairs remaining, which I actually failed to realize that Adidas said that they will be selling these pairs at cost with no further profits contributing to their fourth quarter revenue. So with all of that being said, remember Adidas is selling these pairs at cost, which means they're going to be dropping these pairs well below the suggested retail. So with them saying they have around $56 million worth of pairs remaining, that's actually a lot more than if they were dropping these pairs at full retail, which it looks like as far as this fourth quarter drop, we may have a lot more pairs than originally anticipated. Now, as far as how Adidas plans to drop these, of course, that's still unknown. We don't know if they're going to drop these pairs via the Confirmed app. Maybe they'll throw them up on their website on sale. Who knows? Maybe even send more pairs to the outlets, or Adidas could just dump these pairs over to some of their retail partners at cost. There's a lot of questions in the air, but we do know that Adidas has a lot more pairs than originally anticipated. It's just how they plan to actually release them. So it looks like with just this amount of pairs remaining, things are definitely coming to an end. So I would say by the end of 2024, this should be it for Yeezy releases. So with that being said, hopefully, I know you guys are really excited about Adidas and Yeezy releases and everything like that, but it is officially over. Things are coming to an end. So what I'm hoping is that you guys can finally move on like from all of these old ass styles. So make sure you guys are subscribed, as I will continue to, cover all of the sneakers dropping. I'll point you guys into the right direction. So make sure you're subscribed. Come along for the journey as we will continue, the Yeezy partnership as it ends, but as well continue to let you guys know what's hot, what's going on here in the world of sneakers. Plus, with that recent settlement between Adidas and Ye, who knows what that means for the future, if Adidas could potentially plan to maybe retro some of these styles in the future. A lot of questions in the air, but of course, you guys know I will continue to monitor the entire scene. So that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure y'all smash the like button down below. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Of course, I'll be catching up with you guys tomorrow for the latest updates. In the meantime, stay safe, stay blessed. I'm JA, and I'll catch you guys next time I'm out. Love.